Second part starts with the chain rule. We have a polynomial to the power 2011. So our polynomial is the inside function. And if you replace the inside polynomial with I, we see that our outside function is I to the power 2011. So bring 2011 down, and we'll have I to the power 2010. And I is 3x to the 4 minus x plus 1 to the power 2010 times derivative of the inside part, derivative of 3x to the 4 minus x plus 1. 3x to the 4 is 12x cubed minus derivative of x is 1. Okay, next part. Next question, is x times tangent inverse? So that means we're going to do the product rule, x is being the first function, tangent inverse is the second function. So f prime of x. Derivative of the first function is derivative of x, that's 1, times the second function, plus derivative of the second function, derivative of tangent inverse is 1 over 1 plus x squared, times the first function, which is x. Okay, this next problem is secant x to the power third. It's easier to write it that way. Now we can see the inside part easier. I is equal to secant x. So we're going to do chain rule again. So derivative of f is equal to derivative of the power function. So 3 times the inside function to the power 2 times the derivative of the inside function, which is secant x tangent x. Since we don't have to simplify, I'm not going to go any further than this. This next problem is a direct application of the formula for exponential functions. So f prime of x is equal to 3 to the x times ln of the base, ln 3. Next problem is also a formula problem. We're looking for the formula of inverse sine function, which is 1 over square root of 1 minus x squared. And we're done with the first page here. Oh, that's not good. Okay, second page, we start with an exponential and a chain rule. So our inside function here is x squared minus 3x. So we start with derivative of e to the I. Derivative of e to the I is e to the I, so e to the x squared minus 3x, times the derivative of the inside function. Derivative of inside part here is 2x minus 3. Please do not forget to put parentheses. Okay, here we have a logarithmic function and chain rule. So our inside part is 5x cubed. So our outside part is logarithmic function with base 3 of I. So derivative here will be 1 over 5x cubed times ln 3 times the derivative of 5x cubed, which is 15x squared. Here we have a polynomial times cosine x to the power 3. Let me write it that way. Cosine x to the power 3. So we're going to, that's x squared, sorry, x squared, okay. So here we're going to do the product rule where x squared is the first, cosine x to the third is the second, and when we take the derivative of the second part of this function, we will do the chain rule. So f prime of x equals derivative of x squared, which is 2x, times the second function, cosine x to the power third, plus derivative of the second function. Now for derivative of cosine x, which I will write here, cosine x to the third, inside function will be cosine x. So derivative of outside part will be 3 times cosine x to the power 2 times derivative of inside part, negative sine x. All right, let's carry this here. So derivative of the second part is 3 times cosine squared x times negative sine x times the first function, x squared. All right. This next problem is, let's see, ln of x times sine x. I see that there is a chain rule with I equals to x times sine x. And note that when I take the derivative of I have to use the product rule. So this is chain rule and product rule. So we have derivative of ln, which is 1 over whatever you see inside ln. Normally you would have times ln of the base, but ln is equal to 1, so you don't have to write it, times the derivative of x times sine x. Now we're going to look at the derivative of x times sine x. We have to use the product rule. Derivative of the first function is 1 times sine x plus derivative of the second function, which is cosine x, times x. Okay, and we're at the last problem. Here we have an exponential. Inside of it we have a cosine function. Inside of it we have a rational function. So we have 3 functions composed for each other. We're going to use a chain rule from outside to inside. So outermost function is the exponential. So we start with the exponential. Derivative of the exponential function is, luckily, itself. But now inside of it we had cosine function. Derivative of the cosine function is negative sine, and leave the inside part. And now we are at the innermost function. Derivative of 1 over x squared, which is the same thing as x to the negative 2. And derivative of x to the negative 2 is negative 2 times x to the negative 3. And we're done.